You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sandhills on a river called Fayetteville. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Well, good evening. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Fayetteville City Council meeting. At this time, we would ask that Pastor Scott Foster from St. Andrew's United Methodist Church would come to the podium. We would ask that all would rise for the invocation. If you could please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Girl Scouts, North Carolina Coastal Pines.
Let us pray. O Lord, throughout your word, you declare that you are slow to anger and abounding in love, that you show no partiality and accept no bribes from anyone. And one of the ways you illustrate this throughout your revelation is that you call on your people to defend the cause of the fatherless, the widow, and the stranger, and those that are poor, vulnerable, or easily taken advantage of. So as we gather here for this city council meeting tonight, give our representatives the wisdom and memory to remember your character and speak up for those who need it the most. And give our representatives the desire for this city to look like your heavenly city to come, where people of all races, tribes, and languages are gathered around your holy throne, worshiping you in peace, justice, and love, and feasting together at your heavenly banquet. For we often pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So help us to realize that when we advocate for your character, your peace, and your love, we are co-laboring with you, even here and now in our beloved city of Fayetteville. All this we pray in your most holy and precious name. Amen.
Well, I think the Girl Scouts were going to lead us. So, ladies, if you all would like to come forth and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. All right, so you'll lead us from there.
They're coming.
They're coming.
However they would like to do it.
Okay, they're coming. They're going back.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies. Pastor Foster, if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry.
I'm Scott Foster. I've been in the city of Fayetteville about 6 years. Some of you know my wife, Katie Ann. She served here, and she misses the public service part of this council. I don't know if she misses the long meetings, though. But I serve at St. Andrews past 3 years, and the mission statement is reach up, reach in, reach out. So we reach up to God through worship and musical arts, reach into each other through small groups and studies, and then reach out through some outreach, like we have a bingo night at a nursing home, or we have tutoring at Warrenwood Elementary School, or we also have some Love Thy Neighbor Days, rake leaves around the neighbors in Kenwood neighborhood where we are located. And we're also exploring, talked with Kathy Jensen about this the other day, a Justice for Our Neighbors Immigration Law Clinic, sort of a nonprofit law clinic that would help people move through the legal system, which is very complex and expensive for folks. We're exploring that and seeing if that can happen. So those are some of the things we do. And I don't know if you need to know much more, though. You got a lot to go through, I'm sure.
Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us, and I had no idea Katie Ann was a first lady nowadays. So,
she is.
But that's great, and thank you for coming. Madam Attorney, you had something?
When is the baby due?
I
think it's 11 days now.
You think?
Congratulations.
You think?
Supposed to be March 8th.
Okay.
So if you do the countdown,
okay.
I think it's 11.
I'll let her
But
trip
any
you
day.
up, Pastor.
Any day.
But
All right.
The name's Zoe.
Zoe, that's right.
Yes.
But I think Katie Ann's still running, 5 miles a day? Or
Well, maybe about 3 now.
maybe 3 now? Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us, sir, and give Katie Ann, our former colleague, our regards, please.
Will do.
Thank you. Council, at this time, we have several recognitions, but before we do that, I would like to recognize our FCYC member, Councilmember Waddell. You know anything about this young lady?
A little bit, but I'm going to let Miss Jensen tell you guys all about her.
Oh.
Well, I was going to let you go ahead.
I'll do it.
You can have your moment with her.
So this is Fayetteville Musser. She's actually a homeschooled student, and she attends FTCC as well. She actually went today to tour UNC Pembroke, which is the university that she has chosen to attend after graduation. She's also my daughter, and so it's always a pleasure and a privilege to be able to sit side by side with my own child in the dais, and I will let you have it.
Okay, yes, my name is Fayetteville Musser. I am a homeschooled student. I'm the secretary for our Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council and the North Carolina State Youth Council. So today we're just going to tell you a few things. We have actually finished our Kindness Matters board, which went really well in all the schools. This time around, we actually did a Kindness Matters week. We were able to do kind of like a spirit week, have different days, different clothing items, and it was a really good success, and we thank you guys for your participation, and even last the way you guys participated. We had a diversity summit game night in our office with different games, and we just changed the concept of them to fit different themes and diversity, so that was good, and we had a conversation about it. We also attended the True to Yourself event with Winsome Sinclair and the Boris Kojo event. It was a very great experience. We got to learn a lot, and the event with Winsome was held in our office, and we really appreciated that partnership with the Arts Council and Attorney Sherry E. Miller and, of course, the council. And we also are attending a DC NLC trip coming up soon with our fellow council members, and we're really looking forward to that. So we just thank you guys for everything that you do for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome back. So at this time, we would ask that the Girl Scouts, Miss Shanika Thomas, pardon me if I mispronounced that, the Director of Advocacy for Educational Partnerships, would meet me at the podium, please.
Yes, we could also have, the troop leaders, Girl Scouts. Approximately 30 of y'all are here today. If we could have y'all come on down.
Bring them Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
So we'll present this and then they'll just say.
You want me to come?
After he's tired.
Yeah. So, yeah, ladies, what y'all can do, just walk them right around. Let's take it.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, as we get started to read the proclamation, I do have to give a little shout out that I was a Girl Scout, and I was a Girl Scout at St. Andrew's Church. So it has been a nice night tonight that we have the pastor here from St. Andrew's, and I get to look at these beautiful Girl Scouts that are going to grow up to be great leaders.
I bought many cookies from the
And I want to thank Mr. Arp for letting me do this because we switched because I wanted to I wanted to read the Girl Scout proclamation. So here we go. Whereas the year 2019 makes the 107th anniversary of Girl Scouts of USA, founded by Juliette Gordon Low in 1912, and whereas Girl Scouts unleash the GIRL go-getter, innovator, risk-taker, leader in every girl, preparing her for a lifetime of leadership, and whereas Girl Scouts combine time-tested, research-backed methods which excitingly modern programming and speaks in today's girls and is designed to cater to the strengths of girls' leadership development, and whereas Girl Scouts offer girls 21st century programming in science, technology, engineering, math, STEM, the outdoors, entrepreneurship, and beyond, helping girls develop invaluable life skills and take a lead early and often. And whereas as the world's premier leadership development organization for girls, Girl Scouts welcomes girls of all backgrounds, interests, who want to develop the courage, confidence, and character to make the world a better place. And whereas the Girl Scout Gold Award, the highest, most prestigious award in Girl Scouting, calls on Girl Scouts in grades 9 to 12 to take on projects that have a measurable and sustainable impact on the community by first assessing a need, designing a solution, compelling a project, and inspiring others to sustain it. And whereas today, more than 50 million women are Girl Scouts alumni, and 2.6 million girls and adults are current members. Now, whereas I'm Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim the 11th through the 15th of March in the year 2019 in honor of Girl Scout Week. And where I witness, therefore, I have hereunto my hand and cause the Great Seal of the City of Fayetteville affixed 20th day of February 2019. Thank you.
Council, they gave us some cookies too.
We can. Where's the cookies at?
I hope they're caramel delights. Wait a minute, we got Mr. Cruz. Oh, can you get some? Oh, okay, so if they can.
One, two, three. This should be on the front page of the observer. Y'all should have brought a box of cookies.
Share.
Oh, yeah.
Peanut butter kind. So I know my flavors.
I won the award for the best cookies.
No worries, Madam.
Oh, she said all the good ones. If I could, Mayor, just as a point of personal privilege, I was also a Girl Scout, and when I sold Girl Scout cookies, I don't think we had but 4 kinds. That was thin mint, shortbread, peanut butter sandwiches, and I forgot.
Peanut butter.
Some more.
No, we didn't have. Look, I'm 51. We didn't have no Caramel Delights when I was, and they were $1. They were $1.50 a box.
You're gonna date yourself, man.
Yes.
And I sold the most cookies in my troop, just to let people know.
All right, next can we have, please, Mr. Randy Hume, Transit Director, come to the podium. Councilmember Arp will be reading the proclamation.
Randy, come on down. Come on up, Mr. Hume. Some of our drivers, we need to get them thumbs up. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we need to. Way to go,
Whereas
Transit.
on Monday, March 18, 2019, public transit systems across the country will observe Transit Driver Appreciation Day to recognize the transit drivers for their hard work and dedication. And whereas the day raises awareness for frontline transit employees who safely move our community forward by connecting people to jobs, educational institutions, medical facilities, leisure activities, and to Fort Bragg. And whereas the City of Fayetteville wants to acknowledge the commitment and dedication shown by transit drivers who are required to multitask in order to maintain a schedule, check fares, give directions, announce stops, remember stop requests, and courteously greet the transit customers we serve, all while safely maneuvering an extra-large vehicle through unpredictable traffic, adverse weather, and some really tight spaces. And whereas it's also recognized that many other transit employees support these transit drivers with vehicle maintenance, customer information, dispatching, and other assistance behind the scenes to ensure our fixed route and fast-track paratransit services are there every day to almost 5,500 riders. Now, therefore, I'm Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens do hereby honorably proclaim the 18th of March in the year 2019 in honor of Transit Driver Appreciation Day. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Fayetteville to be affixed as 20th day of February 2019. Mitch Colvin, Mayor.
All right. Woo-woo. Mayor, I would love to echo Mr. Hume and ladies and gentlemen, we greatly appreciate you all, okay? We greatly appreciate our drivers. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, could we have a Mr. Phil Harris, American Red Cross, Sand Hills chapter, come to the front, and the proclamation will be read by Councilmember Dawkins.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Moan. I get the honor to read this proclamation. Office of the Mayor. Whereas the American Red Cross Sand Hills chapter was established on April 26, 1917, in response to a call from President Woodrow Wilson after the start of World War I to assist and comfort communities stricken by disasters large and small, and to help the able-bodied and disabled veterans and civilians overseas. And whereas the American Red Cross Sand Hills chapter provides services to local military personnel and their families, including 24/7 emergency messaging, assisting military members and their families through pre-deployment and post-deployment briefings and seminars. And whereas the American Red Cross continues to partner with this city and county government and civic agencies to help ensure our communities are more ready and resilient in the face of future disasters. And whereas each year the American Red Cross provides shelter, clothing, food, and counsel to hundreds of area families who experience a home fire or other disaster, such as a tornado or flood. And whereas each year the American Red Cross trains thousands of local citizens to lead safer and healthier lives through life-saving skills, from swimming and lifeguarding to first aid, CPR, and AED. And whereas each year the American Red Cross helps to collect, test, and distribute thousands of life-saving units of blood and blood products. And whereas our city's leadership relies upon our citizens who are motivated to act by our common humanity, this month let us come together, the month of March, to celebrate Fayetteville's spirit of generosity and the dedicated individuals and organizations who keep that spirit alive. Now, therefore, Mayor Mitch Colvin of the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby proclaim March in the year of our Lord 2019 in honor of American Red Cross Month. In witness whereof, Mayor Colvin has hereunto set his hand and caused the great seal of the city of Fayetteville to be affixed this 25th day of February 2019. Mitch Colvin, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you for having me. Last time I was here, we were in the middle of a hurricane, so let's don't do that again. But March is Red Cross Month. Every president since FDR has proclaimed that. The Red Cross is built on volunteers and community partners. So during March, we'll be thanking our volunteers, but we'll also be out training our community to be better prepared. So whether it's our pillowcase project for 3rd to 5th graders, great for Girl Scouts to be prepared, make a kit, have a plan. We'll be installing smoke alarms. We'll be teaching hands-only CPR so people will run towards an emergency and have those confident skills. But our biggest disaster is a single-family home fire. And in Cumberland County, we had 166 families that experienced that. So we get a call from the chief and his crew, and our volunteers are out there to help. So that's 510 folks that spent the night in a hotel provided by the Red Cross and provided by the donors that make it happen. So we know that smoke alarms will save lives, so we invite you on May 4th. We have a Sound the Alarm, Save a Life. We're going to try to install 1,000 alarms in a one-day blitz. We work with the fire department to find at-risk neighborhoods. We'll need about 300 volunteers to do that, so you'll see more about that. But we know smoke alarms save lives. You don't have to be handy with a drill because we're talking about preparedness. And do you have 2 ways out of the house? Do you know to crawl below the smoke? Do you know to just get out and stay out? So it'll be a fun time, but it'll also be a life-saving thing. And that's where we need community partners to do that, and that's what the Red Cross is all about. So thank you for your continued support, and we'll see you on May 4th again.
Okay, at this time, could we please have Mr. Jay Johnson, the family of Tanya Johnson, and the #1 Students Motorcycle Club please come up to the podium with the mayor and Councilmember Culleton. Okay, this is from the Office of the Mayor proclamation. Whereas Chief 1 Officer 2 retired, Tanya Johnson will be remembered by friends and family on the occasion of her passing on the 7th day of January 2019. And whereas in November 2018, she retired as a Chief 1 Officer 2, having completed 20 years of service in the United States Army. And whereas she leaves to cherish her memory and wisdom her sons Jaquan Johnson, Kyron Johnson, and whereas she was better known as PYT to the #1 Students Motorcycle Club, she took great pride in her motorcycling abilities. Whereas during her life, she demonstrated in countless ways her dedication to the welfare of others and earned the respect and affection of people from all walks of life and all ages. And whereas She was known to be confident, optimistic, witty, blunt, humble, and caring. And now, therefore, I, Mitch Colwood, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim a celebration of life of 17 January in the year of 2019 for CW2 retired Tanya Johnson, signed Mayor Mitch Colvin. At this time, could we please have Fire Chief Ben Major come to the podium, and as he's walking up there, corporate communications, could you please roll that video for the chief?
It's a good video, too.
I want to tell you a story about a friend. His name is Chief Ben Major Jr. Ben Major Jr. would be a major influence and contributor in the community where he was raised. Upon receiving his degree in business, Ben Major Jr. would join the City of Fayetteville Fire and Emergency Management Department.
Oh, wow. Chief Major joined the fire department in 1984. Ben and a group of recruit firefighters that were hired by the city was probably the most diverse group of firefighters we had ever hired. That was a diverse group that was reflective of the community that they're going to protect and serve.
And serve he did. Ben made Fayetteville his home. He would start a beautiful family and advance through the ranks, where he would eventually become the fire chief.
Chief Major is very involved with the community. He works a lot with the youth. He has a soft spot for the children. He coaches and he does a lot of teaching. He's a mentor to a lot of the youth in the community. And it's very important to him to always give to his community. He has made working in the fire department so much fun. He's someone that I've always been able to rely on and depend on.
Many would come to rely on the 331 personnel of the Fayetteville Fire and Emergency Management Team. Like those before him, Chief Major made it his priority to be there when needed while training new leaders.
From a young age, he was first African-American fire inspector. Ben later become my assistant chief as the first African-American assistant chief. When we built the fire station at Fayetteville State, Ben was a vital part of that because not only did we build the fire station at Fayetteville State, but we developed a fire science program in E.E. Smith.
Here at the school, he shows the kids there's opportunities out there and that you can do anything you want to do. He went from running track, not sure where he wanted to go, and he's honest with the kids by telling that he never thought he was going to be a firefighter and decided to take that road, that path, and he became a fire chief, went up the chain, and he shows the kids that it can be done.
Ben is an optimistic. He is an optimistic person. Everything is always looks good. Ben's professional.
Chief Major is respectful.
The man always has a smile. Since 1984, I've never seen Ben with not having a smile on his face. He's as I said, he's an internal optimist.
He's very easy to talk to and gives good advice.
Ben is innovative.
Chief Majors is influential.
Ben is a leader.
He honestly likes to cater to and likes to try and make a difference. He wants to be someone to make a difference in someone's life.
And he's willing to make changes in the organization to benefit not only the members there, but also the people that they serve.
He's going to surely be missed in this department. It's going to be different. But I think that this is not the ending of something. It's the beginning of something new for him. And I think the best is yet to come.
We always joke in our family. So we joke about standing up and doing your part to be noticed in the family. Ben, you've done more than enough. We are so proud of you. Words can't ever express all of that. I think my mom would probably say for you, you can give up, but don't ever quit. You've done more than what you're supposed to do. Enjoy your retirement. We love you, and looking for things bigger and better afterwards.
Chief Ben Major Jr., we thank you and your family for a 35-year commitment to the city of Fayetteville. We wish you a well-deserved retirement. You've served our community well.
Yeah.
Well, Chief Major, Kathy always says that in District 1 they grow leaders. I'm very honored to know that in District 3 we house them. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to read the following to you. On behalf of the Fayetteville City Council, city employees, and citizens of Fayetteville, North Carolina, our city key and coin are proudly presented to Fire Chief Benjamin Major Jr. in grateful recognition of his devoted interest and untiring commitment to the citizens of Fayetteville while serving with the Fayetteville Fire Department, 1984 to 2019. Congratulations, Chief Major, on your retirement.
Just quickly, it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you and the 208,000 citizens of the city of Fayetteville. I always tell people, if I could do it all over again, I would repeat the same steps. And I'm really proud to be a part of this community, a part of this Team Fayetteville. And I look forward to working with you in different capacities in the future. So thank you.
And certainly I'd like to say I've known Chief Major's family for a lifetime. Basically grew up in the New Broadale area. And so, Chief, when I came on City Council 6 years ago, it was a pleasure to work with you. You had open arms. You helped us, and you were always responsive to what we needed. And to dedicate 35 years of your life, you and your family, to service in the city of Fayetteville is honorable, and we'll miss you. So,
Mr. Mayor, may I say something to the Chief?
Yes, sir.
Chief, I'm sorry I missed it today. I had it on next month's calendar. That happens to you when you get my age. But what I want to say is this. I want to speak to your wife just for a moment. Because in those 35 years, she made an awful lot of sacrifices, not knowing when you were coming home, at times, or even if you were coming home. And she had the banner in terms of raising your boys and keeping the home front while you were out here protecting the lives of citizens of Fayetteville. And so you need to hand that key to her because she earned at least 50% of it. Thank you, Mrs. Major, for your sacrifice to this city. Thank you.
Councilman Hare.
Ben, you know, we've known each other for a long, long time, and I know that we as council members do not pick our chiefs, our fire chiefs, but we can give our input. And I'll never forget the day when this position, your position, became vacant, and I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Dale Iman, was our city manager at the time. And I said, I like Ben. And among a whole lot of us like Ben at the time. So thank you, Ben, for all that you've done. And I hope to continue to see you running and jogging and lifting weights and your arms looking good, so don't lose all of that. All right, thanks, Ben. Congratulations, brother.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes, I wanted to thank you, and I just wanted to let the audience, the viewing audience, go outside in TV land there. We had the privilege of being at your retirement celebration today, and as I was sitting there watching everyone, and as you were speaking and the video was playing, it was amazing the people that worked for you that had tears in their eyes, that they were just overfilled with joy. And I saw your family have tears in their eyes of how proud they were of you. And I think that shows a lot of the man that you are and what you have done to the city of Fayetteville and the impact that you have made. So I know you probably didn't get to see it, but when you see it on TV, you look around and there was a lot of people rubbing their eyes in such emotion of you leaving us. But we know that we'll be seeing you again. Thank you.
Councilman Wright.
Yes, Chief, I just wanted to say thank you. I was at the ceremony earlier, and we spoke outside in the hallway as well. But one attribute that I saw in you that let me know that you are a great leader, a great man, is that your humility, you know, is something that you always carry. And with that smile, no matter how intense things gotten, and no matter how rough it seemed to be at the helm of your responsibility, your humility led the way. And I appreciate that, because that was a sign of your greatness. And I wish you the best in the future. He said he's going to do a lot of traveling, so we're praying for you, and be safe.
He's starting out in Africa, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, you be safe over there, Chief. All right, Council, if there are no other announcements or recognition, at this time we will get down to business. Look for item 5.0 is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Arp, a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor? Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent. Look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve by Councilmember Arp. Of course, Councilmember Wright was the second. Right, with the buttons, yeah. All right. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for your votes. Councilmember Crisp. All right. Madam Clerk, it is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 7.0, public hearing. Individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless by a previous arrangement a single spokesperson has been designated, in which case the spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium. Please clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When the light changes from green to amber, it means you have 30 seconds remaining. At the end of your allotted time, the timer will ring. And it's time. We'll welcome you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. I am Sharon Williams, a Senior Planner in Development Services and a proud former Girl Scout. This evening we have before you a special use permit to convert an abandoned hotel into a mini storage facility. And give me just a moment, we'll get that PowerPoint loaded. Believe it or not, I did practice before, but there we go. Thank you for bearing with me. The applicant for the special use permit is Dennis Chisholm, and the property is located at 220 Eastern Boulevard. You probably better know it as the Budget Inn Motel. And this is located in, District 2. Staff and the Zoning Commission are recommending approval of the special use permit. The subject property, as you'll see, is not too far from downtown on Eastern Boulevard, which is also our I-95 business corridor, and US 301. It is zoned community commercial, There is also community commercial adjacent to it and across the street, as well as we do have some high industrial uses to the north and to the east. The land use plan does recommend for this downtown area commercial uses as well as adaptive reuse, and that does fall within this category. Just to familiarize you with the property, this is the view as you're looking from Eastern Boulevard. To the north, we have the O'Reilly's Auto Parts. To the south, directly behind the property, we have Sunbelt Rentals. When you look to the right, which is the east, you'll see various auto-related uses, including the BP station. And then when we look to the left, to the west, we have some flex space as well as some multifamily dwellings that are heavily buffered from the commercial uses. Just want to talk with you briefly about the site. And we did take a little liberty in coloring it just for the ease of having this conversation. What you'll see are the buildings in the back in the yellow and in the red. Those are existing two-story buildings. Those will be converted into mini storage. The building in green is also an existing two-story building that will be converted for mini storage as well as for office. Now with this project, what we'll also see is 2 new buildings being built. And those are the buildings that you see that are colored in blue and the L-shaped building in purple. Those are new 1-story buildings. And in the interior, the applicant is proposing to use that space for storage of recreational vehicles, dry boat storage, and our things of that nature. Now, one of the things that the special use permit does require, and I'm not sure if I said in the community commercial, the mini storage is permitted, but it does have the condition that the special use permit has to be issued by council. So what they are proposing to do with the new 1-story buildings, and this is the elevation that you see here, it will actually look like a building. So this is a brick veneer facade. There will be landscaping. They're proposing to improve access. Currently, we have 3 entrances to the property. They'll close 2 of those entrances and make improvements so that there's one single access from the main road. They're also going to go in and do some improvements to the curbing, and that includes making it handicap accessible. So that view is it's a little difficult to see because it was so small, so we are showing you an inset of what the building will look like. Along the front, it's going to be brick veneer. And what you'll see is that there will be 2 colors that will be used, and there'll be an offset. So in order to give it some structural difference so it doesn't look like just a huge brick wall along Southeastern Boulevard, there'll be different colors and there'll be step backs at various intervals. And all of this will be reviewed by the city's technical review team prior to any permits being issued. So we have recommended approval of the special use permit. It is in compliance with those conditions that it would need to meet in order for a mini storage facility to be approved in community commercial. We're recommending approval because they are rehabbing an existing structure and constructing new buildings, so this will change it from a derelict site to a useful site. And again, because they're going to have the landscaping, the ornamental fencing, improving access, we do feel that this project is appropriate in this location. So I'm available to answer questions, and we have both the applicant and the architect here for comments during the public comment period.
All right, thank you. We'll open the public hearing, and then we'll call on council for any additional questions. So at this time, we open this public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have 2, and they will both need to be sworn in before giving testimony.
So if they would-
Mr. Darrell Barker and Mr. Dennis Chisholm, please. Well, yeah, Sharon. Can you come to?
Yeah, I think so, Jim.
Put out your right hand, please, and place your left on the Bible. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you so much. Okay. So our first speaker will be Mr. Darrell Barker.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Darrell Barker. I'm an architect practicing in Wilmington, North Carolina. I reside at 1912 Hawthorne Road in Wilmington. And as Sharon said, this project started out as an adaptive reuse of the existing hotel, but kind of became more of that as we realized we had to cover some things and shift some things around to screen the storage that we wanted to make the project function and be passable to the bank. And so we followed the guidelines that are given in the UDO to make those two buildings functional. There are also going to be storage, which will help the project with its number of units to be more acceptable to the bank. And I'm here to just answer any questions that you may have regarding the design or the project process.
Thank you, sir. Did have a couple of questions. Did you all want to hear the other testimony before you started with the question? So, thank you, sir. I wouldn't go too far. There are a couple of questions.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Dennis Chisholm.
Thank you for hearing us today. We see a great opportunity here to renovate a property that certainly needs renovation. Anybody that's been over there can see that this is going to be a great improvement over what it's there now. So we saw it as an opportunity. It's a well-constructed building in its originality there because it's all concrete and block. And so we could design it to where we could use it and veneer it and make it into a viable project. So we're very excited about this being a very good project, and we thank you for considering this.
Thank you, sir. All right. Do have a couple of questions. Councilmember Jensen? Oh, yeah. Well,
No,
Madam Clerk,
we have no further speakers.
so at this time, we'll close the public hearing. So, Councilmember Jensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know who could answer this question for me, so I'm just going to throw it out there.
Hold on. We got, Madam Attorney, you had something?
This is a special use permit, so actually you need to keep the public hearing open while they respond to any questions about the special use permit.
All right. I guess we'll open it back up. So at this time, we'll open it back up. Councilmember Jensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can someone tell me how long the hotel was vacant and there was no business going on in that hotel? Do you have that information?
Approximately 2 years.
So the doors closed down about 2 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it's been sitting basically as it is right now.
That's right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. Councilmember Dawkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a couple questions. First off, I want to thank you. This is a major investment, and since it's a special use permit, we're allowed to ask questions such as, what's your approximate investment? I've seen like 1.6 million. Is that close?
We'll do it in phases, but it'll be 1.6 to 2.5 when it's all completed.
When it's all done.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And you mentioned the UDO. I really like what you did. You've got trees, you've got the brick wall, you've got some nice amenities that is going to add value to that area. And I read that it was climate controlled, so some of your units are going to be climate controlled?
Most of them will be, yes, sir. Just a few are not.
Okay, thank you, because we don't have much climate controlled units in the city.
That's what our surveys showed, right.
Very good.
Correct.
Very good. Well, thank you for your investment in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Cullerton, is it yours a question, or I'll come back to you for? I have another question, so I'll move to Councilmember Wright.
Yes, this is just a comment to thank you for this investment in that piece of property. And the reason being that I pass there almost every day in dealing with the area in which my church is, and we deal with, the people in the evenings. And so also being a gateway off of 301 coming from the airport area, a lot of people that enter into our city see those particular facilities. And so thank you for seeing the vision and coming in to invest in our city, and also the staff that is working with you so well to make this project a success. So thank you very much.
All right, Council, let's keep in mind this is a special use permit, so we kind of have certain guidelines that we need to have. So this is basically quasi-judicial. We're asking findings of facts to make a decision, so let's keep it pretty specific. Councilmember Cullerton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't reiterate then what the other council members, but I will echo their sentiments on this. The questions I have is you have a outdoor storage as well in this facility that'll have RVs, boats, that type of thing,
Yes.
nature,
Mhm.
and those will be screened off then from what I saw there on the blueprints, the drawing. So from the street, then you really wouldn't be able to see those vehicles.
No, correct. The height of the buildings along the street frontage were specifically set to negate anybody seeing at least from the center line of that major highway all the way back. You wouldn't be able to see anything except that front building.
Okay. And is this entire property then going to be gated as well?
Yes. There's only one entrance in and out. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Mhm.
Very good. Mr. Mayor, if there's no further questions, me and my district would like to make a motion to approve this.
Well, I think we still have to close.
Close it first?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, Council, any other questions? All right, this time we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Cullerton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit in a community commercial zoning district as presented by staff based on the standards of the city's development code and evidence presented during this hearing. Additionally, the application is consistent with the applicable plans because, one, the development is located in a community commercial district, and two, the use specific standards for self-service storage or mini warehouse have been met, and three, that this use complies with the findings listed below, and four, the proposed permit is in the public interest because proposed special use permit does fit with the character of the area. There are...
Are you still reading, sir?
Yeah. There's 8 findings of facts that I need to list out here. For the motion to be approved, these 8 findings of fact must be met. Number 1, the special use will comply with all applicable standards in Section 30-4C, use-specific standards. 2, the special use is compatible with the character of the surrounding lands and use permitted in zoning districts of surrounding lands. 3, the special use avoids significant adverse impact on surrounding lands regarding service delivery, parking, loading, odors, noise, glare, and vibration. 4, special use is configured to minimize adverse effects, including visual impacts of the proposed use of the adjacent lands. 5, the special use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitat, scenic resources, and other natural resources. 6, that the special use maintains safe ingress and egress onto the site and safe road conditions around the site. 7, the special use allows for the protection of property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop the uses permitted within the zoning district. And 8, the special use complies with all other relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations.
We've got a second by Councilmember Wardell. She's using lights, so it might be how we need to go. All right, so we have the Cullerton-Wardell motion to approve. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councilman Crisp.
I need to make the point that in these type proceedings, it is totally inappropriate to thank the proposed investors prior to the proposal being approved. If it is to be disapproved now, then it would be quite embarrassing to some. So we need to stay focused on the questions rather than complimentary statements. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Council, any other discussion on the motion? If not, I'll look to you for votes.
Me too.
Well, it did, 10-0. So, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So item 7.02. This time we will turn to Mr. Martin.
Thank you. I get the presentation started. Michael Martin, Assistant Development Services Director, in the spirit of the evening, a proud Girl Scout dad, and a not-so-proud #1 consumer of the peanut butter sandwich.
But, Mr. Martin, do you have your cookies?
We'll bargain later.
Oh, no.
Yes, I have plenty. I have plenty.
You got to pay for them, DJ.
I handed them out. Mr. Martin, please, sir.
All right.
Got to keep this group focused.
Absolutely. We got off track, but we're getting back on. So we are talking tonight of a 5-year amortization period for existing non-compliant occupancies. The establishment of a 5-year amortization period for legal, pre-existing, non-conforming, extended stay motels and hotels. The purpose of this public hearing and proposed ordinance amendment discussion is on the amortization period. The underlying ordinance was passed in 2016 that this amortization period is based on. We'll discuss that in a few minutes. Modification Chapter 30, since this is a zoning ordinance, this does require a public hearing, which will follow my presentation. City Council work session, majority consensus to proceed in November by this group. The Planning Commission heard it December 18th of 2018, public hearing and unanimous approval of such. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. Background and purpose. Transient living facilities are used to meet the immediate needs. This is not the right presentation. I apologize. I must have put it on here after I had modified it. Here we go. We're on track now. Those cookies got me off key. City Council work session in November the 5th, and we were directed to proceed forward. And the actual section is 30-4C41, visitor accommodations. And the language of the ordinance is any non-conforming extended stay hotel or motel shall be conforming by March 2024. Keyword being non-conforming. Non-conforming based upon an ordinance that was passed on June the 27th, 2016 by City Council that gave a definition for extended stay hotel and motels as facilities for occupancy for over 30 days, and it defined the requirements: a built-in 2-burner stove, electric stove, and a refrigerator of at least 5 cubic feet. So this ordinance, the discussion tonight is based on the amortization of this ordinance that was passed in 2016, June 27, 2016. Properties that did not comply with the requirements at the time of the ordinance adoption are considered existing non-conforming use. The amortization proposal tonight is a 5-year period from March 2019 that would require the compliance with this ordinance. So I do want to note that on June the 27th, this ordinance was passed. If we had a hotel that after June the 27th, that went from a less than 30-day period to an extended stay period after June the 27th, they would be required to comply with this ordinance outside of the amortization period because they would not be protected by their non-compliant status. Background and purpose, staff was requested by management to research support for the ordinance that was passed in 2016. Transient living facilities are used to meet the long-term needs of tenants. We found occupants may stay as long as several decades in some facilities. To create a safer environment for tenants by providing needed amenities, and going back to our ordinance in 2016, the refrigerator and 2-burner stove, for long-term occupancy exceeding 30 days. Several questions about the health department's inspection. If they allow or restrict residents or tenants to longer than a week, the health department does not do inspections. They're not part of the food and lodging program of the health department. A majority of the extended stay hotels and motels within the city do comply with the ordinance that was passed by City Council in 2016. Concerns for the tenants, use of portable cooking appliances that are not stationary and can be used near combustible materials, and lack of refrigerated space for safe food storage. The proposed ordinance, again, is a 5-year amortization period. It is not defining the requirements of a stove. Those have already been defined. But the amortization period from March 2024, which is the anticipated date dependent upon City Council approval. After the amortization period, if the property has not come into compliance, it would be incompatible with the permitted zoning uses in the district where the property is located, and Section 30-8 of the ordinance would apply to enforcement. It is not an immediate closure. It is not an immediate closure if that does happen. 5-year amortization period gives staff a chance to identify once again and notify once again properties that are currently non-conforming, continuous communication with these property owners, and provides time for voluntary compliance actions. This is a public hearing as we're dealing with the zoning ordinance. We have 4 options: adopt the proposed ordinance amendment, deny the proposed ordinance amendment, which these facilities remain as non-conforming use until a substantial amount of damage in the event of an emergency happens. Abandonment occurs for longer than 365 days, or reconstruction or enlargement of the site. That would void the non-conforming use. A third option, revise and adopt the proposed ordinance amendment. As we spoke in previous meetings, discussion of modification to a possible 3-year. Remand the proposed amendment back to the Planning Commission. As staff was directed to research this, staff recommends council to adopt the proposed ordinance amendment. And again, tonight's discussion is based on the amortization, not the requirements that were adopted by City Council in 2016.
Thank you, sir. And I guess with that, we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
No, we have no speakers.
So we will close the public hearing. We do have a couple questions, Mr. Martin. Councilman Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Martin.
Yes, sir.
Before the 2-burner stove requirement and the 4 sides refrigerator, what were or are the extended stays now? How do they heat, well, as far as warming, cooking food, and size of the refrigerator?
It depends upon the designation of extended stay. Prior to 2016, the ordinance did not have a definition of extended stay. What we may see as of an extended stay in a commercial application, you may have a kitchen, you may have a microwave, and you may have a full refrigerator. But prior to 2016 and the ordinance that was adopted by City Council, extended stays were not defined, and there were no requirements for such.
Okay, my next question is this. On the smaller refrigerators, I'm pretty sure that we can have, they will be running on a 110. When we start looking at the 2-burner stove, what are we looking at? I know our larger stoves are 240s.
Yep.
Amps. What are we for?
We discussed this with our electrical inspection staff. Being a 2-burner stove, it would depend upon the make and model. There may be a chance that it would be 120, and there may be some that would be 240. Since this is a built-in 2-burner stove, it would have to have a dedicated circuit for that range.
So if that is not in place, then that's something that would need to be additional for each room.
Yes, that is correct.
Area, however they are set up.
That is correct, and that is based on the ordinance that was passed in 2016.
Then whenever it comes down to our city codes and requirements, which even if we look at our state code requirements, which sometimes do supersede us, when we go to look at 240s, those requirements up under codes are mandated versus whatever we're speaking of tonight. Am I correct?
If I understand your question, sir, the installation of a stove would cause the electrical wiring to be compliant with the state electrical code.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Martin, can you clarify the non-conforming properties after the June 27, 2016 adoption of the ordinance? Are they grandfathered in that when they became after that, or can you clarify that?
So the non-conforming use, the properties that were operating as an extended stay or occupancy for more than 30 days prior to June the 27th, 2016, they are per se grandfathered under a existing legal non-conforming use. When the ordinance was adopted and passed by City Council on June the 27th, if you had an existing hotel that decided to allow occupancy for over 30 days, that they are not protected by the non-conforming status and they are not grandfathered in. So they would be a zoning violation and they would have to comply with the current zoning ordinance, which would be the built-in 2-burner stove and 5 cubic foot refrigerator.
And so for those that were prior to the adoption of the ordinance, would this amortization still affect those properties?
So this amortization affects the non-compliant occupancy, non-conforming occupancies in existence prior to June the 27th. So if this ordinance is not adopted by council, these occupancies will remain in a non-conforming status until the use changes, abandonment for over 1 year, reconstruction greater than 50%, and so forth.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. That's all I had.
Thank you, sir. I had Councilmember Art, but I think I've got him to wrap this up. So, Councilmember Chris.
Mr. Martin, what was council's intent with changing the ordinance in 2016?
I was not in my current
but
position.
your interpretation now of what the end result was or is.
It appears that to assist the tenants of a extended stay that may stay for over 30 days, and as we've seen with recent events, months to years to decades, to give them the proper equipment and appliances needed.
You say proper, you mean safer?
Safer.
In the sense of a 2-burner built-in stove and a full-size refrigerator.
Dorm size, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chris. Councilmember Art.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Martin, thank you for your presentation and for the presentation that you shared in the work session last week. If it pleases the council, I would move that we revise and adopt the proposed ordinance presented tonight, with the change being amortization period of 3 years in lieu of 5 years.
Saw a light. Was that you, Councilman Hare, or was that you had a question?
Light for my second.
For your second. They're beating you on the lights, gentlemen and ladies.
We going back to the
All right. So there's a motion by Councilmember Arp, a second by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion on the proposed motion? And that is to amend the current presentation of 5 years to amend it to 3 years, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Any other was that a vote, sir?
No, I just have one question. Mr. Martin, going back to the 2-burner stove, as far as requirements go, is there a ventilation system required over a 2-burner stove?
For a 2-burner residential stove, no, sir, not per the mechanical code.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Any other discussion? Councilmember Waddell.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. I do want to point out one of the topics of conversation from our work session was that once we move toward solidifying this action, we ensure that we provide support mechanisms for the owners of these facilities to ensure that we are helping them to make this transition. So I want to be very clear that we're not just pushing this up down the pipeline, but we want to make sure that we're being supportive of those businesses, because we do recognize that oftentimes this does serve as functional low-income housing for some of our citizens in the city. And so we want to make sure that we are supporting those owners and supporting those businesses, but our primary responsibility is the safety and well-being of the citizens at large. So I just wanted to make sure that we put that on record to say we are going to work very, very hard to make sure we do that.
Always.
And take that a step further from the spirit of that same thing, I think it's incumbent upon community development, economic development to get out and to make sure that they're educated about the grant programs that exist for facility upgrades and facade and so forth, as well as council. Maybe we will take a look and make sure that our current program package meets the needs of businesses, particularly in some of these distressed areas. But any other comments or questions before the vote? All right, look to you for your votes. This is a motion to approve with the amended changes. All right, Madam Clerk, that is 8-2. Those voting in favor: Councilman Cullerton, Art, Wright, Colvin, Moan, Hare, Dawkins, and Waddell. Those voting in opposition: Councilman Crisp and Jensen. So the motion carries. Thank you, sir. Right. Item 8.01 is the update of NCDOT Rayford Road project, East Robeson Street to Old Rayford Road. Is that Mr. Jernigan?
Just introducing. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We're pleased tonight to have Mr. Greg Burns and representatives from his staff from NCDOT come and brief you on the status of the Rayford Road project. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Council, appreciate the opportunity to provide an update for you on the Rayford Road project. Excuse me, Project U4405. Going to give you a brief history on the project, how we got to where we are today, and then what we're proposing for the project going forward. Back sometime around 2009, FAMPO and NCDOT initiated a study on the Rayford Road corridor. The purpose of the study was to evaluate existing congestion, mobility, safety, and planned development along the Rayford Road corridor. Develop an appropriate transportation strategy that promotes safety and traffic operations while considering the vitality of the corridor. The study included intense public involvement and interaction with stakeholders. Some of the information related to the concerns with the corridor is there were about 2,500 crashes in the 5-year analysis period, heavy congestion, 50+ thousand ADT, with the current 2018 counts currently at about 60+ in some of the portions of Rayford Road, and anticipated to rise to 70,000+ by 2038. The crash rate is significantly higher on Rayford Road when compared to similar roadways throughout the state, and that's another reason for leading to the study and taking a look at this corridor. Of course, Rayford Road is considered a very important and viable business corridor, also identified by the Department of Transportation, Board of Transportation, as a strategic highway corridor, and the efforts were to try to protect that corridor and maintain it as a viable corridor. Numerous meetings were held with local government, business owners, and the public. The study identified multimodal transportation considerations to carry forward in the project design. In June of 22, there was the recommendations were released in a public information session, and then the recommendations were finalized based on that public comment in December of 2010. In 2011, U4405 project was actually added to the STIP, the State Transportation Improvement Program, originally scheduled for right-of-way 2018, construction 2020. The project was subsequently funded in strategic transportation investment, which was a new approach to funding transportation projects where they had to compete on their individual basis based on congestion, safety, and other criteria. And it was actually accelerated to begin right away in 2016 and construction in 2018. As the project was being developed, there were additional public information meetings held, as well as follow-up meetings. There were 3 public meetings in March of 2014. 2 of those were informational meetings and 1 formal public meeting. A lot of input was received from the public, and that information was taken back and designs adjusted as appropriate to address public comment where we could. And then we had a follow-up public meeting in December of 2015. The right-of-way acquisition began in July of 2016. And as part of the right-of-way acquisition process, obviously urban corridor, very impactful to the businesses, to the property owners. We developed a team in partnership with the City of Fayetteville and Fayetteville PWC that were identified that could address all questions of the property owners that were asked as we were acquiring that right-of-way. For example, if they had zoning questions, if they had signing questions that were going to be as a result of that right-of-way acquisition, then we had the team there to be able to answer those questions. Also, along with the right-of-way acquisition, the utility coordination was scheduled as well. In the summer of 2018, we advertised the project to contract, and in the fall, we received bids, but there were no bids proposed by the contractors. As a result, we solicited input from the contractors, multiple contractors, and feedback was due to the project size and scope, it was their desire that the project be broken down into smaller segments. As y'all know, with around the city of Fayetteville, as the entire region, there's a lot of construction going on, big demand on the contractors, and a project of this nature, an urban project with a lot of utility construction, it was going to place, they felt it was going to place a burden on especially the subcontractors that would be doing the utility work. So what we've done is broken the project down into 3 segments. The first segment A will go from Old Rayford Road to Bunce Road. The B section will go from Bunce Road to Glensford Drive, and the C section will go from Glensford Drive to Robinson Street. The first segment, U4405A, Rayford Road from Old Rayford Road to Bunce Road, is scheduled to let the contract April 2019. The next segment, U4405B, Rayford Road from Bunce Road to Glensford Drive, is scheduled to let the contract in August of 2020. And then the C portion from Glensford Drive to Robinson Street is scheduled to let the contract in October of 21. NCDOT, in partnership with the City of Fayetteville, will provide a news release advising of the revised approach to the project and information associated with those schedules. NCDOT will continue the partnership with City and PWC to aid in answering questions as they arise from the project, from the public throughout the life of the project. And NCDOT also recognizes the need for ongoing community outreach through the construction of the 3 projects. Any questions?
We do have a couple. Council Member Crisp.
Mr. Burns, what are we going to do there? We're going to put those turn lanes like we got on Ramsey Street and other places. Is that really what we're doing with a median and those portions that don't have a median now? Because when you get further out, there's some grassy medians out there, but you're going to put those turn lanes where they have to go to those and eliminate U-turns and all that.
This project is more of a congestion management project than it is a widening project, so you are correct.
Okay.
Councilman Chris, there are going to be medians throughout the project. Minimal widening to accommodate U-turns, and then some widening down in the Strickland Bridge out to Old Rayford Road area.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councilman Wright.
Yes, Mr. Burns. So there won't be any widening. It'll be minimum, but will the lanes still be the same number of lanes with the additional medium in the middle?
It will be the same number of lanes. There'll be minor widening to accommodate, the median and accounting for the median.
Okay. I've heard a lot of residents talk about the street signs. Will you be adding additional street signs and an upgrade? I see here where you stated including the project, upgrading traffic signs, installation of pedestrian signals. Can you talk a little bit about the upgrade in the pedestrian signs and how that will look?
There'll be definitely a lot of more additional pedestrian accommodations. All the signalized intersections will have PED signals, crosswalks associated with those, and also the entire length of the project is adding sidewalk on both sides.
Okay.
Now, as far as signing, it'll be our roadway signing as standard. I don't know if there's any particular concerns or areas that we need to address.
The concern was when people come into the city or even, residents, it's hard to see the signs of the street names. And I'm thinking, are you going to put the names of the streets on the wiring, or is it going to be down on the corners where they would look, because intersections are being enlarged as well?
Well, we can work with city staff on that. Typically, that signing, though, falls under the city purview.
Gotcha.
But we'll be glad to work with them on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Before I go to Councilman Art, I heard you say something about the crosswalks. Are you going to give us the nice zebra crosswalks or just the thin stripes?
It is going to be the stripes similar to what we put on Owen Drive. We did the high-vis crosswalks on Eastern Boulevard kind of as a test area, but we've kind of received feedback that, sometimes that can be more distracting than it can be helpful. We're actually going with the standard crossings, and hopefully the PED signals will be the most impact with regard to aiding in the.
So let me ask you this. What about communities where you see all of their crosswalks look like that, like the carries and so forth? So when DOT does that, who made that decision? Are you saying that you no longer use them? Because they're not as safe as the other ones, or what?
Well, not necessarily as not as safe, but we've not seen a significant difference. The studies haven't shown a significant difference between those high-vis crossings and the standard crossings. Not sure about the city of Cary if that's.
Well, I'm just saying aesthetically, if there's not a difference, if there would be a preference, is there a difference in the cost for us?
There's a significant difference in the cost of installation, significant difference in cost of the maintenance going forward. But again, that's not totally the driving force, the cost, as much as studies have indicated that it does not make a significant difference in the safety of the pedestrian.
Right. So it's not any less safe, but
Right.
the fact that we're trying to dress up our corridors, and I know that's been historically, we get the builder's grade, for lack of a better word, the most basic option. So I remember when I was on the Gateways Committee, that was a question to make sure that we got those zebra stripes when possible. But Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Burns, thank you for your presentation. As you go through with these corridor improvements on Rayford Road, what impacts will there be to the speed limits?
The current speed from Robinson out to approximately All-American is 35. Don't know that I anticipate that changing, and I think it has been revised to 45 out to, and Lee, you might can help me with this, from 45 out to maybe the 71st school area. So I don't know that that's changing either.
Yeah, I just would ask that we've had a problem with traffic fatalities over the past couple of years, and speed is a direct contributor to fatalities on the road. And some of these areas are very congested, and then we have school zones up by the 71st School Road area and that. I just would ask that you go back and look at speed and that we take that into account because that's really an issue. And traffic lights, I'm assuming that as we make these changes, there's going to be a concerted effort for synchronization of traffic lights so we can move traffic.
Yes, sir.
Where people aren't encouraged to speed. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, sir. We'll still have the lights timed and interconnected so we can, with the city's support in that effort, can manage that corridor to where the timing is accurate. And
then I want to go back to the crosswalk issue. One of the things they've done on Fort Bragg that I think has been very effective because there's a lot of pedestrians, out there that are crossing the road wearing camouflaged uniforms at all hours of the day. But on their crosswalks, they have LED flashing lights, and that seems to be very effective. When someone comes up and they want to cross the road and they push the button, there are LED flashing lights, low-cost, low-energy lights, that really get your attention so you know there's someone getting to cross that walkway. Have we considered that for our walkways, our pedestrian crossings?
That has been discussed, and we've received requests. That's something I'd like to gather a little bit more information on and report back to you on, but there's not currently a plan to provide that kind of signing on this project.
I would really encourage you to do that, come back and visit that subject with us, because as we talk about crosswalks across Owen Drive or across Rayford Road or across Skyboat, listen, I walk around this community. And crossing these roads, it's high adventure. You're taking your life into your hands, and we want to encourage people to cross at the crosswalks. So to do that, they really need to be very visible, very safe. So I would encourage you to do that and come back. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Councilman Arp. Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Burns. You gave me some new information. You said that it's going to be minimal widening. So the third phase is kind of the area I wanted to focus on because it's super congested, especially in front of, say, Harris Teeter or anything on Wendy's, all that area. So you're not going to be taking 20 feet on each side, and because different landowners been calling me saying they're going to take everything up to my glass, and I'm going to have to, buy additional property behind me. So that the minimal widening is going to be there and not this extra 2 lanes.
Well, what's resulting in the right-of-way impacts is accommodating utilities. Of course, right now, if you drive down Rayford Road, the utilities are right up against the back of the curb, the poles and so forth. Whenever we do a project, it brings forward our standards with regard to utility setbacks. So by setting those utilities back, the overhead, as well as easements that are required for relocation of water lines and other utilities, that's what's really resulting in the impacts, being close proximity to the buildings. Now, the widening is part of that, but it's not significant widening as you would see on a lot of urban projects that are going, say, from, a 2-lane roadway to a 4-lane roadway. It's widening to accommodate that median, and then it's widening to accommodate the U-turns.
So I guess my question is, has the width of the road changed in the last 10 or 12 months?
No, sir.
Okay, so they're still going to be taking a lot of land.
Yeah, there's still a lot of right-of-way impacts because of utility relocation and other aspects of the project.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Burns, this is the complaint that I received. Now, one of the council members already asked if there were going to be any minimal change or within our lanes. I get complaints all the time that when the citizens get to that to make a left, like a turning lane,
yes, sir,
up against the median, it appears that lane has gotten a little smaller. I drive a Ford pickup occasionally pulling a 10-foot trailer, and I've noticed that it's not the same. Is it small? Is that particular, the turning part of the lanes, is it smaller?
They may be referring to some of the projects we've done, for example, on Ramsey Street, on Grove Street, where there was actually no widening done, and it was a safety project that was actually limited funds and trying to stay within the original footprint of the roadway. Those were narrowed down quite a bit. I would like to report, though, however, our before and after studies on the safety with regard to the lane widths, the concern over side swipes, U-turns, et cetera, are not there. You've actually seen an accident reduction on all those corridors. Now, back to Rayford Road. The section between Robinson Street and McPherson Church, that is being adjusted to 10-foot lanes. And that's because of the impacts. We're trying to balance the impacts to the businesses and still be able to accomplish the project. 10-foot lanes we've seen historically have performed well as far as safety operation. And then from McPherson out through the rest of the project, it's going to be 11-foot lanes.
Okay, so you're saying then through your studies, we've had no complaints or any accidents where up against that median where you have to make a left, where you come up to make a left, for example, that lane is no more narrow than it was before the median was put in. Well,
some of the projects have narrowed that lane, but what I'm saying is the before and after study of the safety, as far as the results from the safety standpoint, it's not indicating an increased accident potential for side swipes. In fact, when we construct a median, even in the areas that we've had to narrow the lanes, the side swipes have gone down because we've gotten rid of the two-way left turn lane. That's where you get more of your accidents, and also the cross movements, the angle collisions where somebody's getting hit in the side, T-bone. That's the accident that we see reduced significantly when we do these median projects.
Well, I mean, I thank the Lord that we haven't had any accidents, but I will say I get a lot of complaints.
Yes, sir.
That lane is so much more narrow. I mean, you have to be really on your P's and Q's pulling in there, and I've seen it myself. So just
on Rayford Road, I think the turn lane is proposed to be the same as the through lane, so there will be a consistency on Rayford Road.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilman Hare. Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. I do believe that some mention was made of the improved sidewalks, correct? Okay, I did also want to point out that in the background, we're also going to be seeing improved drainage and some bus pads. So can you give a little, I do realize that there's been an agreement for the city to cover the estimated cost of the improvements in terms of the bus pads. Can you expound a little on that? Because I know that we've been talking a lot about having covered bus stops. So is this along that vein, or is this something different?
This is part of the project. There's going to be sidewalk throughout the project, both sides. The city's participating in that. Based on the share they're required to participate. It also includes a number of bus pads. I don't have that particular number, but it's the number requested by the city. The city's participating in that as well as part of the municipal agreement. And then as far as drainage, we have partnered with the city in some areas to improve drainage, and the city is participating in those areas too.
Okay, and just for clarity, because I don't recall, when we talk about a bus pad, we are talking about the actual space where a person would be waiting on a bus to come, not a space where a bus, because in larger cities there are areas where a bus can pull off and get away from the flow of traffic. So is that what we're referring to as a bus pad, or are we referring to the actual bus stop where an individual would actually
the
catch
bus stop? The pullovers we actually deleted from the project because of additional impact to businesses and properties.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Waddell. And before I go to Councilman Cullerton, so a section there at the intersection of 401 and Skybow and Rayford Road by the Hardys that floods all the time, they said that there were culverts that were damaged or need to be replaced. Are they going to use that as an opportunity to do that?
There are going to be additional drainage added. We're actually doing some bores to install drainage under Rayford Road to minimize impact to traffic. So there are definitely drainage improvements that will better handle the flow of drainage in that area.
Thank you. Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Couple the other council members already covered some of this. One was Councilman Hare. I know what he's talking about, and I've had similar complaints, and I have them myself on the medians in Bragg Boulevard, especially, as you mentioned. Those are very narrow, the turn lanes there, and anybody in a truck or an oversized vehicle, especially if they have offset tires, I can understand that they may not be having sideswipe accidents anymore, but they're probably doing damage to their tires and rims as well as the infrastructure itself. You're saying that in Rayford Road we're going to have the space allotted to have a proper width of those turning lanes?
Yeah, the lanes are going to be consistent. The left turn lane is going to be consistent with the through lane. Again, on the Bragg Boulevard type project, it's a project where we're trying to stay within the footprint of the existing roadway because it's funded through a safety funding program that we have, limited amount of funds that go toward a project like that. But basically we evaluate, the benefits of that design versus the old design, and it comes out in favor of, even if you have to narrow lanes, it provides a much safer design.
So that's not changing, but Rayford Road we won't have that issue.
Right. You'll have consistent lanes. Now it's being narrowed somewhat in the area between Robinson and McPherson Church, but those will be 10-foot lanes. It'll be 10-foot turn lanes and 10-foot through lanes, so there'll be consistency.
In the interest of space, is there going to be the utilities going underground in some of those areas?
The overhead utilities are not being placed underground. Of course, obviously, there's a lot of water and sewer that's being upgraded by PWC that will be in those utility easement areas that, obviously that's underground, but none of the overhead or the power utilities is going underground to my knowledge.
And then in the sidewalks, are we looking at improvements of the sidewalks? Are those going to be more of the extended curb and gutter type sidewalk, or are we going to have a green space separating that sidewalk from the road?
Some of the area, I would have to review that for sure. Some of the area may have a slight amount of green space, but again, it goes back to the impacts to the property owners, and we tried to keep that footprint as small as possible. So a lot of the sidewalk is going to be up against the back of the curb.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Wright, and then council will need to move on.
Yes, Mr. Burns. In District 7, in a part of that area, 71st High School, you have 71st High School, you have the middle school, and then you have an elementary school all within one block of each other. McDonald's is across the street, and of course, every morning and every evening, that's a very, very congested area. I heard you talk about coordinating the lights, so there'll be a better flow, and I think we've done some of that. But is it anything that you're considering in your design in that particular area so traffic can flow better in the mornings and in the evenings, and especially after school hours? I see parents picking up their kids and they're parked on the side of the road, and I mean, it's like 30, 40, 50 cars right on the side, and it's very dangerous. Have we considered more of a safety factors when we're looking at that particular area, because for years it's been a problem?
Well, the design certainly took into account the schools. We're actually making some improvement with regard to access to one of the schools for getting the buses, getting the parents doing the drop-off into those schools better. If I'm not mistaken, too, we're going to end up with additional lanes in that area, Jason. It's currently 2-lane each way, and it's going to be 3-lane each way.
Great.
Yeah.
That's gonna help a lot.
There is some additional capacity in that area.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, council, we'll just need to receive the report. I did have a question. So, Mr. Burns, if we have some specific things that we would like to see in this, is it we can send some type of request from the council to
absolutely
consider? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, council, I guess we'll need a motion to receive the report or the update.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
So, motion by Councilmember Art. Is there a second by Councilmember Waddell? I think she beat you. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, look to you for votes to receive. All right, that is unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Pushed early.
All right, council, we have a few items that were on administrative reports, which typically we just receive those reports and not necessarily discuss them. There was an interest to discuss or to have staff to explain item 9.01 as well as some components of 9.02. So at this time, I saw Councilmember Harris' light.
Yes, sir. Mayor, I'm not sure who's going to be bringing this small report to us. Just want to let our citizens know, though I sent out many, many emails, that we will be having a new improved and resurfaced Langdon Street in the early part of the summer. But just wanted to also have someone to come and speak about the additional things that we're doing and where that cutoff would be. And I'm
So we
speaking
have
about
Lee
the
Jernigan,
bicycle lane.
our planning, transportation
Mr. Jernigan.
engineer, come talk to you about that.
Mr. Jernigan, did you present to us this during the work session?
No,
Was it you?
sir. This is being presented as an admin report.
I mean, yeah, during the.
For your information, if there's questions or
Yeah,
concerns.
if you would, and we're thankful, we're so happy now that we're getting ready to get that paved, but just kind of fill us in so the citizens will hear it about the bicycle lane and how far it goes, because we do bottleneck up there, so.
Yes, sir.
Tell the citizens.
The Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, or FAMPO, is actually in the process of conducting a Sand Hills Regional Bicycle Plan. So that encompasses a larger area than just the city of Fayetteville. They're at a point now where they're developing draft recommendations, and one of those was Langdon Street, as you've mentioned. It was identified for the addition of bicycle lanes. As you mentioned, the resurfacing is scheduled, and that's an opportune time to revise pavement markings after the resurfacing. So that is the strategy we're looking to implement once the resurfacing is complete, and the striping could be revised at that time. The limits for those bicycle lanes would be from Murchison Road to Trinity Drive. As you mentioned, the little short section between Trinity Drive and Ramsey Street will remain a two-lane, relatively narrow section that doesn't have enough pavement to accommodate a dedicated bicycle lane. So that section will be resurfaced, but the bicycle lanes will stop at Trinity and go all the way back to Murchison Road.
Is that our street or is that DOT street?
That is Langdon Street is our street.
DOT street?
No, sir. Langdon Street is a city-maintained street.
Oh, city.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. That was all. I just kind of wanted the citizens kind of hear the improvements that are coming.
Some improvements are on the way, so thank you. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Dawkins, item 9.02, you had some.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, do have some questions of staff, and I believe Ms. Sheila Thomas Ambat wanted to discuss stormwater. Mr. Mayor, since you have created a stormwater committee that's going to include Councilman Wright, Councilman Culleton, and myself, and our staff liaison, John Larch, professional engineer. So getting this thing cranked up and underway, and I want to thank the staff for providing this administrative report. And thank you, Mrs. Thomas Ambat. How many projects does it look like we had going on that we've gotten completed? Is that the 62?
That's correct. We have 62 projects that we have completed in the order of about $20 million.
Okay, just under $20 million. All right. And how much are we spending approximately each year? I know it has to be broken down into like capital versus watershed studies versus.
Right. So we have about $11 million in our.
$11 million?
Yeah, stormwater utility fee generates about $11 million, and about approximately $4 million is allocated for CIP projects, and approximately $2 million is for our watershed studies.
All right, and how many watersheds?
We currently have about 13 watershed studies that we have in place. About 2 have been studied, and we expect to study the remaining through the next 5 years.
5 years.
That's correct.
Because of the increase in the stormwater fee. All right, and I just got a couple more questions about that, and then I want to switch to bonding and retention ponds. Now, I know we approved some additional hiring, so I wanted to make sure that we're advertising all across the state to civil engineers that are going to be graduating in the next 2 or 3 months. How many engineers are we going to hire?
So we are looking to add 6 more positions, six, correct. So 3 in the development review process and 3 additional in the watershed process. The watershed effort is going to take a lot of 3 engineers in terms of reviewing those watersheds as well as follow-up of building the projects, design and construction of the projects that come out of those watershed studies. So
Well,
those are 3 positions, and then in addition,
UNC Charlotte grads and NC State grads, any other engineering grads, Virginia Tech, whoever, to know that Fayetteville is hiring. So we want to move into Fayetteville and come into work for us.
I certainly will reach out to my alma mater as well.
And now, where's your alma mater?
Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee.
Vanderbilt. Outstanding. All right. Switching to stormwater bonds. I'm trying to understand in reading the material. It looks like we hold our bond money from our developers, builders, longer than some of these other cities are holding our. For instance, Raleigh, once the project is as built, you release that bond money. But it looks like with us, completion of a 1-year warranty period. And is that the warranty on the retention pond?
That is correct. So the retention pond has to meet the standards of the plans. In other words, we have to build the retention pond so that they meet engineering standards. And once that goes past that inspection period, we start the warranty period once we have inspected the pond. And then post that, once that one-year warranty period has been completed, we'll be able to release the bond.
Approximately how many bonds are we holding right now?
We currently have 42 bonds, and those are for projects that are currently under construction. We have about 19, and those are projects that are through their warranty period. And we have about 122 where we are looking for developer action. So those are some of the older bonds that are in place currently. And many of them, for example, the SEMs have not been converted, so we have gone from the erosion control device that has not been converted to the SEM, or the punch list items for the warranties that have not been met.
All right, are any of these more than, when was Florence here, October, so more than 5 months? I mean, are we holding these bonds? What I'm driving at is, was the Florence hurricane, did it cause additional damage, which then is going to require the retention pond to be changed? Is that an example?
I would not think so. I mean, I can certainly reach out to our city engineer to give some more clarity on whether any of these are specific to Florence. But in general, what you're looking at is about the 122 that require developer action, which are some of the older bonds for residential sites that have never been completed from a residential perspective. In other words, we have not completed the actual 123. That's correct.
All right, that's all my questions. Thank you.
So we'll be certainly looking at a process by which we can go ahead and go back and do a QC process to understand which these bonds are that we're holding and how we can reach out to the developers to get them to accelerate meeting the standards that we currently require, and then either calling the bond or having the SEM to be completed and finalize the projects.
Very good. Thank you.
So, Ms. Sheila, before we conclude this, I saw that, as he said, we're unique to the upon as-built acceptance.
Correct.
So our process is a 1-year warranty after the acceptance of the as-built plans? Is that what this is saying?
No, the as-built process is one where, once you finish your construction of your site, these other cities have a very robust as-built process where you go back and your engineer goes in and sort of attests that your particular site matches the plan and seals that document. And this is a very robust process that takes having engineers who are qualified to do that, as well as...
Is that the engineer of the city, or the engineer that for the developers attesting with his seal?
It's the developer.
Okay.
The developer hires the consultant.
That acceptance process is more so on the the developer and their professional who's guaranteeing it with his seal.
Exactly. You have a
the
license.
city's discretion. Okay.
Exactly. You have a licensed engineer that goes back in and says, yes, this particular site was built to plan, and this is what the as-built looks like. And at that point, the city accepts it.
And then some of the cities are actually just charging a fee, 4%, ranging anywhere from 4% to 24% to hold in a escrow, I guess, in case there's a failure.
That's correct. So, for example, Raleigh has a fee of 24%, and that's what the city of Raleigh would hold, period. And that's something that the developer pays into a fee, and it's kept for the life of, in perpetuity, essentially, that 24%. And Raleigh holds that so that if there was any failure for that SEM device, there would be funds in place to fix it.
In opposed to a bond?
No, that's actually in addition. So
they have a bond and the fee?
Yeah, so the fee is so one-time payment of 24% for the construction go into a fund that the city retains in perpetuity. That's correct.
Okay, well, your paperwork didn't say that, but I got you. All right, well, thank you. Any more questions for Ms. Thomas? All right, so council, with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.